Good afternoon, parents. My name is Tyler Barker. I am the coordinator within the Office of Parent and Family Programs. I would like to welcome you to today's webinar, our What's Buzzin' at Georgia Tech webinar series. And today we are discussing mental health and well-being with some of our Georgia Tech colleagues. Please send all your questions for our colleagues throughout the presentation to our Q&A chat box. We will answer those questions after the presentation. And also, like I said, just please hold your questions for the end. And just give me a few moments while we transition to the PowerPoint. All right, and without further ado, I would like to welcome you to the Mental Health and Wellbeing presentation at Georgia Tech, and I will turn it over to our first presenter.
Great. Thank you, Tyler. So my name is Carla, and I am here to represent the Campus Recreation Center, or as your students will tell you, the CRC. I am our Associate Director for Healthy Lifestyle Programs here at the CRC, which means I oversee all of our units that house most of our programming, our fitness programming with personal training, group fitness, massage, and all of our drop-in use, sport clubs and intramurals, and our outdoor recreation piece. So I'm excited to be here with you today and tell you a little bit more about the CRC and answer any questions you may have, especially about what's going on right now with campus. So we'll get through that. Just a quick overview of who we are. Our mission statement is we are champions for health and well-being through dynamic and transformative experiences. And we truly believe that here at the CRC, we're more than just a gym. We have lots of different things for your students to engage in, whether that be health and fitness type pieces or sports or mental health and well-being and relaxation, even to job training and transferable skills. So we we do a lot here, a lot of excitement at the CRC. It's a fun place to be. We do have a premier facility. It's about 300,000 plus square feet just in the CRC building alone. And then Rose Stamps Field with this outdoor track and turf and 3 pools. Yes, with a very fun slide that hopefully your student will get to enjoy while they're here at Tech in their career. A leadership challenge course and also some sand volleyball courts. So we've got a lot that's usable space here right on the west side of campus. And we provide those comprehensive and engaging programs and services. Tyler, next slide, perfect. So our vision, and you can see this beautiful shot of the sand volleyball courts, the Rose Stamps Field, and our building itself, along with our parking deck right here. But our vision is to be the leader in collegiate recreation by providing comprehensive and engaging programs and services that strengthen community well-being and enhance student success. Your student is at the forefront of what we do and why we do it. And so we truly believe that a complete university experience involves well-being in all aspects. And so we want to be champions for that and shepherd those students through that experience so they can plug in and engage with the community right here in Midtown Atlanta. And in the picture on the bottom is our professional staff, and we are a team of 20, and we work really hard day in and day out to deliver those programs, services, and transformative experiences to your students. Next slide, perfect. So as I said, I actually oversee our healthy lifestyle programs piece for the building, and with that comes with 3 different areas. We have fitness, outdoor recreation, or ORGIT as it's fondly known as, and our competitive sports. And so our team does an amazing job to offer as many opportunities for every type of fitness level or ability that we have here on campus. And there truly is something for everyone. So let's talk a little bit about what we're doing right now during this pandemic. The CRC is typically open 115 hours a week. We open as early as 6 a.m. and we close at midnight most days on a normal year. But this year has been a little different. And so we have had to modify our hours of operation and the way we do things just to make sure that we are adhering to not only the guidelines from the CDC and Department of Public Health, but we're adhering to the guidelines that are set forth for fitness facilities and gyms in the state of Georgia, in the city of Atlanta. So we've got a couple different guidelines that we're trying to make sure we meet and go above and beyond to have those safety standards in place. So we have our hours of operation. They're all listed on our website, but we want to just make sure parents and students know that not only are our hours modified, but they have to have a reservation to be in our facility. And that has never happened before, and hopefully it won't happen after we're able to not have to worry about occupancy numbers in different spaces. But again, we're trying to control the flow and control how many bodies are in this space, even though it's very open, very bright, very large and in a great indoor space to be in if you're going to be indoors. But we are still trying to keep those occupancy levels low and minimize the risk of spread. We do have a new waiver and a member agreement that includes that infectious disease language. So just so you're aware, your students are signing that that waiver when they sign up and get their buzz cards and things. But that is something that we do have in place. We are requiring, just like all of campus, that students have on their face coverings and that they bring just what they need to work out. Our lockers and our showers right now are still closed because we don't want to have that interaction in the locker rooms. We don't want to have the showers and in the places that can spread germ, that moist air. So we're asking students, and they've been doing a great job. If you've got a student here on campus and they're coming to the CRC, they're all doing a wonderful job of wearing their face coverings, even while they're working out. Yes, even on the treadmill, and I know it's tough. But we're asking that everybody kind of adjust their expectations of what an intense workout would be and modify that way. We are checking their temperatures. They come in, they have to be under 100.4. And so we're doing the things, the social distancing, the process, the occupancy to keep your students and our staff safe while we're here in this time. Next slide, please. So we do have a little bit of difference in between what's open and what's closed. So there's a lot of things that we offer here at the CRC for your students, but right now we're just trying to deliver what we can to enhance that healthy lifestyle journey while being safe doing so. So our fitness floor is open. And you can see our occupancy numbers on the screen. We created a fourth floor fitness area by pulling equipment off the fitness floor and putting it upstairs. So there's two places that students can go so that not one area gets too crowded. Our basketball courts are open, though we are limiting how many people can be on each hoop at any given time and how much they can spread the ball around to different groups of people. Our competition pool in the water is the only place you don't have to have your mask on unless you've got scuba gear or a thing that you can breathe out of, but no masks in the pool. But our pools are open, our squash courts, restrooms for restroom use only. Obviously, we're serving all of our members and students at our desk, our membership service desk, and our H2O cafe. We have actually, that slide is a little outdated because we've actually commandeered that for some extra storage space to get more things off the floor to help your students stay a little more apart. So these other things that are closed, we hope to bring them online just as soon as we can, and we're working hard to do those safely and with thought. So just know that your student will have some more opportunities to get even more engaged as we hopefully climb out of these phases in the pandemic and begin to open a little bit more. So the last slide I'm going to talk to you really quickly about is our virtual programming. This is a great way for your student to connect if they're not on campus, if they're on campus but don't feel safe coming to the CRC. We have uploaded virtual content from our own instructors on our website and we have made those available. We've also got esports that's coming up. So if your student has a gaming console and wants to connect, that registration starts next week. And all of that is listed on our website. It is going to be the hub to find anything for CRC. We do have some fall events we're going to try to pull off. We'll probably do a virtual 5K to keep the Halloween Holla alive. But again, that link is right there at crc.gotech.edu/virtual-fitness for those of y'all listening in. So we hope to see your student here at the CRC. If not in person, then online. And thank you so much. And if you have questions, just let me know.
All right, well, good afternoon, parents and families. My name is Dr. Tiffiny Hughes-Troutman. I serve as Director of CARE, which is the Center for Assessment, Referral, and Education, and I'm delighted to share a little bit about CARE as we talk about our mental health and well-being system. The diagram that you see here really talks and points out a picture of our mental health system and how students can access us. But as you see, CARE is really the single point, like the starting point of all of it. So students start with CARE, and then we refer to a number of other mental health and well-being resources and services on and off campus. And as you see to the left, certainly that includes health initiatives. My colleague Joy Alexander will be talking briefly in a few minutes about health initiatives, but there you really see all of the breadth and depth of services about health education, community nutrition, and then their voice team, which is their sexual violence prevention, education and advocacy arm. Our referrals from CARE also include STAMP psychiatry, which is in campus services, a part of campus services, and that would include psychiatric consultation or case management, or even referrals to providers. They additionally have support groups like the Asperger support group, and they provide continually med management and case management as well. Certainly a primary referral is the counseling center. My colleague, Dr. Carla Bradley, will be talking about the counseling center shortly. The counseling center has a large array of resources and services, not inclusive of, but not limited to, individual counseling, group counseling, and workshops, but they've also have a number of other services related to prevention, as well as outreach. And of course, we also prefer the many off-campus resources as well for students who would benefit from individual counseling or psychiatry off campus. What I want to point out too is that it's not just the mental health services. We, for example, prominently and commonly refer to the CRC because we know that physical well-being is a very important part of a student's holistic health. We refer to so many resources and services that support a student's identity. So a student may get referred to the Women's Resource Center or to STAR, which supports students' needs around finances or having food or having a suit to wear to an interview, for example. So it's not just those clinical and formalized resources. It's really whatever helps the student to thrive. Students start with CARE. So just the overview, as I mentioned, we're the central point. Students start with CARE. We do communicate and collaborate with a number of professionals to make sure that students get connected to those resources. And our staff are multidisciplinary. We're comprised of licensed professional counselors. I'm a psychologist, but my staff are primarily counselors and social workers. And our goal in CARE is really to reduce barriers to access. And so previously in our system at Georgia Tech, we did take note of the fact that there were a lot of different departments, but students were confused and shuffling back and forth about how to access services. So we started CARE as a new and innovative model to make sure that students knew where to start. And then really, the idea is just that we point them in the right direction, and we provide that signposting for them so that they can get pointed in the right direction. Next slide, please. Our model in CARE is rapid access. Now, we started last fall as a walk-in model. Students walked in and got an appointment, or they were just waiting to be seen, whatever really worked for them, and we saw great demand We shifted to a virtual format in March of this year due to COVID-19. And so we shifted to using the Blue Jeans platform or telephone to continue that seamless delivery. So students do leave with that plan. Even now, if it's a virtual appointment, they still leave with a sense of their referral. And we work very quickly to get that appointment for them if it's a counseling appointment or a psychiatry appointment. And we give that information in terms of a care plan, which is really an action plan. It's a customized plan that lists those referrals and our recommendations. And we share that with the student as quickly as we can for them. But in care, we also provide case management and follow-up. An important part of the picture for us is not just letting them know where they need to go to get help and to feel well. It's also following up to ensure that they got to that right place and that they were satisfied or that they feel better. So a lot of our work is not just the initial assessment, it's also following up with each student just to say, hey, how are you doing? Did you get to that referral? How are you feeling now? So we're working to provide that continual communication and process so that students are connected. We do provide crisis intervention as well. So during the day, we will meet with students who may present in crisis or who call us, or if a student's referred. We are not after hours, but we do see those after hours for students. The counseling center will follow up that next day to make sure that they know that they can and need to connect with us that next day. Our services are free and confidential for degree-seeking enrolled Georgia Tech undergraduate and graduate students. Right. So thank you so much. And again, additionally, students will see us, but we also consult. So faculty, staff, or parents and families often do call us for questions about our services, or they just want to consult about where to send a student or what's appropriate or what's in scope. And so we're happy to meet with anyone who really has questions. And for families and parents particularly, it's important to share that due to confidentiality, if your student is in receiving services, and if they're 18 or older, we won't be able to confirm or deny that they are in our system or being treated, but you can always call to share information or to ask a question in general. So we do field and receive a number of great questions and consultations from parents and families. So that's just a little bit about care in our community served, and now I'll hand it over to my colleague, Joy Alexander, who's Director of Health Initiatives.
Thank you, Tiffany. Good afternoon. My name is Joy Alexander. I have the pleasure of serving as the Director of Health Initiatives. You might not have heard of our department, but we are located on the second floor of the Stamps Health Service building, but our focus and our goal is a little different than Stamps within that. So we definitely focus on prevention, health and well-being, and trying to encourage students to live healthy lifestyles while they're here at Tech. We do provide a number of services that are one-on-one, in addition to group types of workshops that are available for students. We have 3 areas of focus that we provide programs and services to students related to health education. So health education really consists of our outreach efforts. We have health educators that are trained to be able to go and present to classes, student organizations, at wellness fairs, on a variety of topics. So anything related to alcohol and other drug prevention, sexual health, stress, time management, resilience, sleep, which sometimes is forgotten. So it's really a plethora of topics that they can cover, and that they really try their hardest to make sure that students understand why they should take care of themselves and how to do it in an effective way. Our community nutrition consists of 2 registered dietitians that are able to meet with students one-on-one for nutrition consultations. So they can meet with students from anything related to, hey, I want to learn how to eat healthy, or perhaps they have specific restrictions regarding dietary that they want to learn how to be able to cook and navigate that. Or if a student has a diagnosed eating disorder, they're able to help students with that as well. And so within that, that is part of their one-on-one services that they do. They also provide workshops related to nutrition, body image, and what does that mean to love your body, and everybody. Actually, body size is good. And so we really try to debunk and make sure that the narrative around weight loss and all of those things, that students understand how important it is, that they love themselves. We also, a part of our department is Voice. And so within Voice, that consists of 2 advocates that are licensed social workers that meet with students and really support and become an advocate for them related to anything sexual violence. And within that, they are available 24 hours a day and 365 days. And so they utilize an on-call system, which requires them to be available and to make sure that they're able to meet students' needs. In addition to the Voice team, we have a health educator that focuses on more of bystander intervention, healthy relationships, consent. What does that mean? And how are we making sure that we are taking care of ourselves, looking out for each other as part of the Georgia Tech community? So as I mentioned, a part of health education is our wellness coaching service. We receive a lot of referrals from CARE for our wellness coaching service, but students, if they're interested, they can sign up on our website, and within that service, they are able to meet with the health educator, and they are really able to help them and assist them navigating a number of topics. Primarily, students come in for stress and time management and goal setting and being able to navigate that as well, especially in the challenging times that we're in now. But definitely that is a service. They have received certification to be a wellness coach, which is much different than therapy. Wellness coaching really focuses on the present instead of the past, and trying to get them to be able to reach whatever goals that they have to be able to outline for themselves. In addition, we have a number of workshops that we are able to provide. Primarily, we've been seeing a lot of workshops and requests around self-care, which is important. Mindfulness, what is mindfulness? How are we taking care of ourselves? Sleep, resilience, all of those topics. So some virtual opportunities that we have for students and is related to our Wellbeing Weekly series. So our Wellbeing Weekly consists of each Monday, we provide an hour for students to be able to practice deep breathing and guided meditation. We understand that Mondays are typically stressful. It's the beginning of the week, and so we want to provide an option to reduce stress that students might be experiencing. In addition, we have our TED Talk Tuesdays, which happen each Tuesday, in which we provide a 15-minute TED Talk and a discussion. We try really hard to make sure that the topic is relevant to what's going on, so students feel comfortable being able to have an outlet to discuss. In addition, our Wellbeing Wednesdays, that happens, and so that is more of a trivia game for them to learn about well-being and learn about the different topics in a fun and interactive way. Our Thursdays are our Voice Message Thursdays, and so our Voice team provides messaging around healthy relationships, bystander intervention, COVID and chill, and all of the different things that are going on related to sexual violence. And then Fridays, our dietitians provide Flavorful Friday, which is on social media, that it's a Q&A for students to be able to ask a dietitian any question that they might have, and also provide recipes to cooking, some simple meals that could assist them during this time. In addition, for students that are really interested in mindfulness, we have a book club that we provide the book in a virtual environment, and so they meet for 4 weeks. They meet once a week, and they really go over the book and be able to dissect it and to be able to talk about the benefits it has. In addition, we have our Fit to Thrive program that is ran by one of our dietitians. They meet once a week as well in a virtual format, and they are able to really talk about different concepts of well-being. So everything from physical health, but also emotional and social connectedness, and how all of them connect to each other and really support each other in taking care of themselves. In addition, for students that are perhaps interested in health and well-being, we have our peer educators that they can sign up to be a part of, in addition to being an activator, which really has to do with being that person within an organization or within a residence hall that is promoting health and well-being in their environment. Next slide, please. Yeah, so for community nutrition, as I mentioned, they provide one-on-one services. They also provide cooking demos, and we have also provided a curriculum around body positivity that we are promoting and implementing this semester for students. And so the body positivity curriculum really talks about the importance of body positivity and how are we creating and shaping the messages that we have around our body. So we are implementing and excited about that coming to campus this fall for students. In addition, as I mentioned, they have Tuesday Taste, which each Tuesday on our website, they have a different recipe that they can provide. Our Flavorful Fridays I mentioned, as well as the option on Fridays, and then our Body Positive, which is workshops that they provide for classes, student organizations, residence halls. As I mentioned within Voice, those are their services that they provide with advocacy and some topics that are outlined related to consent, survivor support, healthy relationships. In addition, as I mentioned, they have a peer education model that they are able to go out and educate their peers from a peer-to-peer model. We have a curriculum entitled Bring in the Bystander that talks about bystander intervention. If you see something, say something, looking out for yourselves and others within the Georgia Tech community. Greeks Against Violence, we partner with Fraternity and Sorority Life and provide education and workshops around sexual violence prevention, in addition to our Men Reconstructing Masculinity. That is a workshop that we could provide to organizations, classes, and anyone that really is interested in it. I'm now going to pass it off to Carla, my colleague, to talk about the Counseling Center.
Thank you, Joy. Nice to speak with you this afternoon, parents. I'm Dr. Carla Bradley. I'm a clinical psychologist who directs the Counseling Center here. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Georgia Tech Counseling Center. An overview of the center is that it's staffed by professional psychologists, counselors, and social workers. We also have a training program for future psychologists. Those are doctoral interns and advanced practicum students. An advanced practicum student is someone who's not as far along as a doctoral intern, but they are ready to be in clinical settings and working with students. The center is accredited by the International Association of Counseling Services, and we use a short-term model for individual counseling. And a short-term model means about a semester or so, usually, sometimes spaced over a longer time period than that, but concerns that can be managed in about that period of time. Next slide, please. So the types of client services that we have are individual and group services. Let me say briefly that the efficacy, research-based efficacy on both of those services are neck and neck. So if you have a student who comes to you saying, hey, I thought I wanted to talk to a counselor one-on-one, but they're telling me group is a better modality for me, you can support that with research. We know that outcome measures for individual people participating in both of those modalities are essentially the same. So we also offer couples counseling. One person in the pair needs to be an enrolled degree-seeking student. We have, at this present time, this semester under remote conditions, we have some circumscribed testing and assessment services. Normally, those are one-on-one, face-to-face that have to do with the manipulation of physical objects to conduct the testing, usually looking at things like attention or other kinds of concerns with learning. And so we are a bit circumscribed now due to the pandemic. We offer a referral to inside and external colleagues for additional services. That might be something like, for example, a higher level of care. If we have a student who needs either something different than what we're offering by the time they've gone through some counseling with us, or if they are feeling worse in some way, or we determine that there is a need for a different kind of service, we may refer them to a higher level of care. And of course, part of what I'm thinking about is hospitalization, although I want to reassure parents that hospitalization is a very, very rare event. Consultation is a part of what we can do to parents, faculty, and staff, and also other students who may be concerned about a roommate or someone close to them. We have a vibrant outreach program reaching out to the campus community. We also provide emergency coverage during our regular hours. And after hours, we have a coverage system that includes our staff as well as crisis management experts who can take care of after hours calls. Pardon me, that will typically vary from the range of anxiety about a test the following day to much more serious crisis concerns. If you visit our website, you will find a nice array of online self-help resources for a variety of concerns, also introducing the offerings of the Counseling Center. Next slide, please. So additional services that we have, Let's Talk is under normal operating conditions, walk-in consultation. Here under remote, we offer this by remote. This is a non-clinical service, meaning that a student who just wants to talk to a counselor, doesn't want to go through the paperwork process, isn't interested in ongoing counseling, maybe just has a problem that needs to be talked through or concerned about someone else, can come into the Let's Talk service, spend an hour with a counselor, and go on their way. Hopefully with feeling supported and bolstered and some sense of what they want to do next, or what's kind of the next right thing to do about the concern that brought them into the Let's Talk consultation. We offer a mindfulness program. Mindfulness, very close to meditation, has some wonderful research efficacy behind it in terms of what it does for the nervous system, calming down, focusing and attention, stress management. So we offer that to individual classes and to the campus community through outreach. We have wellness workshops. We also offer a collegiate recovery program. It's a small subset of students, but those students who need that kind of support are very assisted. Again, very good research for how that can really impact positively in someone's life, help them get through the college process, and also clarify their relationship with drugs and alcohol in such a way that they move forward in their lives, in their adulting process, in a much more positive way. We have a peer coaching program, which is one-on-one peer support. We train interested students who meet our qualifications to meet with, as a peer coach with a student who is asking for some additional help or support or coaching, but maybe the concern doesn't really rise to the level of something that would be best served by individual counseling or group counseling. So the peer coaches are other students who go through a mentoring process. Again, a very successful, helpful program. We have mental health screening days that we offer to the campus community. These look at things like mood difficulties around depression and anxiety. We do some screening around drug and alcohol use, and sometimes around eating, relationship with food. WellTrack is a self-guided application that helps students track anxiety, stress, depression, see where they are at any given point, and also teaches some skills as a part of the application. And that is available on our website. We have a collaborative suicide prevention program, which includes QPR, question, persuade, refer training for students and the campus community. And again, under normal operating circumstances, we offer a biofeedback program, very much related to our mindfulness program, just a different way of working with the nervous system, if you will. That involves the application of devices that measure respiration and body temperature and sometimes perspiration. And obviously under social distancing, we're not doing that at present. So I would refer you to our mindfulness program instead if you have a student who's interested in looking at services of this type. Next slide, please. So additionally, we have a satellite counselor program. And this program is where a member of our staff is housed within an academic department. We have a goal to have a counselor in each academic department eventually over time. Right now, we have 3 placed in academic departments. The background to this exciting program is that we initially partnered with the College of Engineering and the College of Computing to house those 3 initial counselors, and the program is about 8 or so months old at this point. We noticed a higher utilization of those services when we house them in the academic departments. And so it sort of brings counseling to the place where students are spending a large % of their time. The program was officially launched in October of 2019. Our current locations are in mechanical engineering, biomechanical engineering, and the College of Computing. The offices are accessible and they are also private. And we offer the service to all students, but it tends to be, as you might imagine, more frequently utilized by students from those host departments. Next slide, please. So just a little bit more information about the satellite counselor program. It improves accessibility, as I mentioned, destigmatizes or normalizes seeking mental health support as a part of the day, reaches students who might not otherwise come in for services or seek them out. We have walk-in consultation hours, which can provide immediate access without an appointment. And faculty and staff are able to consult with a counselor much more easily if they have a concern about a student. Counselors also can sometimes serve in limited capacities because they're usually very busy, but we can consult to mental health initiatives within the department. And so far we've been invited participants in student programs, teams that are department specific and usually comprised of students and some faculty looking at mental health data within the department and talking about supporting and improving mental health statistics for students in particular departments. And next slide, please. So I'll turn that back over to my colleague, Carolyn, who will talk about the CRC contact methods.
Yeah, so really quick, maybe you see it on your screen or if you need me to read it out, the CRC is located on the west side of campus on First Drive. Our website, crc.godtech.edu, is the best place to go for the most up-to-date information. That /resources is going to give you all that you need to know for the policies and procedures as it relates to how we have reopened since August 10th. But just our main site, crc.godtech.edu, is a great way to stay informed. And then we have an email where you can send us info@crc.godtech.edu, and we have a very active Instagram page where we like to send out a lot of information and highlights and kudos to our students. So definitely encourage your student to follow us on Instagram at CRC at at CRC at Georgia Tech. So.
And here's information on how students can access care. We are located on the first floor of the Smith Gall Student Services Building, known as the Flag Building, but students need to call us to get an appointment. They need to call us because we're primarily providing virtual appointments, and because of COVID-19 and the importance of physical distancing and safety and health and well-being measures, we're not accepting walk-ins right now. But if they call us, get a little bit of information from them, we can start them immediately on the assessment process. We'll get them matched with a clinician by Blue Jeans and phone as soon as they need that. And again, as a reminder, if a student needs a service and if we deem that they need a service from the counseling center or STAMP psychiatry, they have to start with CARE for an assessment. Our website's listed here, care.gatech.edu, and our business hours are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 to 5, and on Tuesdays from 9 to 5. Thank you, and next slide.
Hi, so for health initiatives, as I mentioned, we are located on the second floor of the Stamps Health Service building. If you would like to reach us, you can reach us by telephone, or you can also go to our website that has all of our information that I highlighted. In addition, we have social media, which consists of Facebook and Instagram, so feel free to follow us and to kind of keep up with what we have going on. In addition, you can email us at healthy@gatech.edu, and we will follow up with you as well. Our hours are the same as Stamps, so we are open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and then on Thursdays we open 9 to 5.
And if you would like to get in touch with us here at the Counseling Center, we also are located in the Smith Gall, the Flag Building up on the second floor. We have an active website I'd refer you to from the slide. Your student can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and we have a YouTube channel that includes some information about a variety of self-help topics right now, including managing COVID, as well as introducing students to some of the rest of our programs. And the next slide, please. We have two slides here to let you know about emergency resources that are available to students and at times families. So numbers for Campus Police Department, for the Office of the Dean of Students, numbers for the voice advocates, the victim survivor advocates. We list the Georgia Crisis and Access line. Sometimes, especially after hours, that may be a number that's helpful to have. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, available as a national resource. Trevor Lifeline also is a helpful resource. And Crisis Chat, additional resource that we utilize at times, or students can utilize at times if they would like to work by chat or text. And next slide, please. Thoughts or questions?
Just like to say thank you so much to Carolyn, Joy, Tiffany, and Carla for just presenting on mental health and well-being and what we have here to support our students and help them be successful. Now what we'll do is turn it over to the Q&A chat box. Thank you so much, parents, for tuning in. The first question, Carolyn, if you just expound more on it, will the CRC be hosting swim meets this year?
Sure. So I reached out to our assistant director for aquatics, and right now we have nothing that's anticipated for the 2020 calendar year. If we're able to open up more and if we get guidelines from USA Swimming and some of the other national governing bodies, and we're able to squeeze in a meet here or there, we certainly would love to host some meets. It's a nice way to get visitors in the facility, get some revenue that I'm sure you understand that we need. But nothing is slated. We were supposed to host the 2020 US Open, and due to the pandemic, that has actually become a virtual meet. So we're not hosting that one, but we are slated to host 2021. So unfortunately, no meets on the horizon, but hopefully in 21 we'll get some back on the calendar. GT Varsity does use our pool. We share a pool with our varsity swim team. If they have meets scheduled, that'll be hosted through them and not through CRC.
Thank you so much for sharing that. The next question that we have is for Tiffany. Can students visit CARE more than once? And if so, what does that process look like?
Well, that's an excellent question. So students only need one CARE assessment about every 8 months. We typically see a student needing one assessment and then being referred to the needed resource. However, students can also follow up with us, and so that may require additional visits to us. So even if they've had that assessment, they may have a question, or they may have experienced a concern or a barrier that was unanticipated. So in that case, they can call us back or email the clinician they met with to request another follow-up appointment. Or one of our staff, clinical staff, may reach out to a student for a follow-up appointment, initiate that. Maybe if they feel the need to help guide the student a little bit more to the referral, or just want to check in with them. And so for those reasons, students typically would need the assessment only one time, about every 8 months or so, but there may be an opportunity or a need for subsequent sessions, which we would define as follow-ups. So thank you for that great question.
No problem. Thank you for sharing. The next question that I have is for Carla. Do you help students get connected with off-campus referrals for therapy?
Actually, GT Care usually does that. If they can tell on the front end if an off-campus referral is needed. If we get into a counseling situation with a student who's been referred to us and it becomes apparent that we need to connect them off campus, then we will often do that through our case managers. This is an important question, and I'm going to invite my colleague, Dr. Hughes-Troutman, to add any additional information about that process from a care perspective.
Certainly, and thank you, Dr. Bradley. And to that point, certainly CARE provides on and off campus referrals. So from that initial assessment, for instance, because the counseling center is primarily a short-term department and their model is primarily short-term, we may determine through our initial process that a student is just going to benefit from a referral because perhaps they're saying to us, I really want to see one person for a year or more. And that automatically is going to let us know. And that's just one example of why we might refer off campus, but that referral is a service. And to Dr. Bradley's point, sometimes things emerge later, whereas we may initially refer and it appears to be a shorter term issue and in scope for the counseling center. Perhaps after the course of that individual therapy, it's through that collaboration, it's learned that the student's going to need to continue off campus for a number of reasons. So we do collaborate and work. There are a lot of situations that are just individual. So thank you for giving me the chance to address that.
Yeah, no problem. The next question that we have, and Carolyn, I see you already answered it in the chat box. However, if you can just expound on it some more, even if we have a student who is virtual. So does the CRC have personal training? And if I'm virtual, can I get personal training virtually, potentially?
Yeah, so we do have personal training, and you can find a link to our training packages and prices and a list of our trainers on our website under the fitness tab, and just scroll down and you'll see the personal training piece. But at this time, we are not offering training in person, and we just don't have the capacity or bandwidth right now to offer virtual personal training. If we're not able to offer in-person training at all, we will definitely find a way to pivot to that in-person, or excuse me, that virtual training piece. Right now, as you can imagine, we're having to work with our team, our trainers as well, to ensure that their safety is at the forefront as well, and making sure that they're available. So it's been a little bit of an issue with staff and things like that as we work through all this together. But we hope to get that piece back up and running. We do have students that are trainers as well. So if you got a student that has a passion for training people, and we're not in a pandemic year, we'd love to have them come work for us in that capacity. So hopefully that'll all get turned back on very soon.
Great, that sounds awesome. Sounds amazing. The next question I just posed to anybody on the team, if you want to take a stab at it. My daughter is struggling with homesickness. We live in New York. What would you suggest I do to help her?
I'm happy to offer just a few thoughts. First of all, congratulations for the loving family that led to that kind of homesickness. I really appreciate that that's sort of a developmental process for young folks that sometimes gets missed in the wake of being very anxious when you come to college for some people, and maybe even struggling in different ways. So I'm so glad that your daughter is missing home and missing her family. I imagine the things that I would suggest are things that you are thinking about already, so making sure that she has familiar items around her, keeping her connected to family meetings or other kinds of things that were in her normal routine before coming to campus. And that might be, because we're in this virtual world now, are there clubs or services or friendship groups or activity partners that she was familiar with before coming to college? And can she touch base a little bit with that? If I could also add just one reassuring note, one of the things I've seen around homesickness over the years is that once a student comes home and recognizes this is still my home and I'm still grounded here, and I'm also on this other journey now as I am moving forward in my life, that sometimes the homesickness tends to diminish. I don't have a prediction for you about that, what that might look like in our virtual world currently. But once again, the more familiarity you can surround the student with, as well as encouraging them to make similar connections here, and knowing that once they come home again, they probably will have the next step of the developmental process, which is that recognition that I now have a foot in both worlds. Thanks for the question.
Not much. No problem. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Bradley. Carolyn, I'm going to switch over to you. I know you answered the question in the chat box. However, I think it's a good question if you can just expound on it some more. What would be tips for success for my students starting in a mainly virtual environment? Because some students are perhaps canceling their housing contracts and going home. So if you could just touch on that.
Sure, and I'll read what I put in the chat and then can give a few more insights as well. But one is unplug from technology as often as you can. Be in front of the screen only to transfer to our phone and then maybe to the TV. It's just a lot of input. So when you can, when your student can, have them unplug completely and get outside, or even just look at something else that's not electronic. The second one is get fresh air and move. Even a simple 10-minute walk or just sitting outside in nature or stroll around the block, that helps. So moving our bodies, getting out of our seats. I have a standing desk. I like to stand a lot, and I have an anti-fatigue mat at my feet. So encourage your student, if they have even shoe boxes or suitcases or something to put on their desk to put their laptop on, so they can just go from seated to standing. A simple hack they can do. I have a makeshift standing desk at home with Amazon boxes. So find ways to move. Shoot for 30 minutes of every day to do something. It does not have to be all at once. It can be in increments of 5. It can be in increments of 2. It can be in increments of 10. But do something for 30 minutes every day, preferably without your phone or screen in front of you, just to move your body and free your mind. Connect with others, even if that has to be virtually. If you have that 30 minutes, maybe take that time to call your student and say, hey, go for a walk with me while we catch up on things at home. Or have them encouraged to do that with their friends if they're going to call them anyway. Maybe take a walk and talk. And then finally, engage in campus events. And I threw the campus calendar link in there, but for those who need it, it's calendar.gotech.edu. There are things that are going on even in the middle of all this that students can plug into literally on their computers or come to. We had a successful in-person event here at the CRC where everybody was masked up and socially distant. We hope to be able to do some more type things, and I know there are colleagues across campus that are trying to get things for your students to safely engage in and do. So encourage them to plug in when they can, but unplug as much as they can, if that makes sense.
Yes, and it seems like we have a follow-up question for you about the CRC. Any online workout classes?
Yes, there are, and it's in that virtual fitness page that I plugged earlier, crc.gotech/virtual-fitness. I know it's a mouthful, but we have tons of content loaded since March. We're continually uploading content. This semester, we're going to try to offer in-person classes, but if we can't, we are pivoting one of our studios to be a virtual studio and hopefully offer some live classes to attend virtually in their room as well. So all those things are trying to come down the pipeline, but again, we're hoping for in-person so we can engage your student as much as we can in face-to-face.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it sounds good. Safe is always good. The next question, and just as a kind of a wrap up as well, I'll shift it over to Joy. Joy, if you can, just talk about some advice that you may have for a parent, just from some things that you've seen for the first couple weeks of school that you can maybe share with parents, to just some lasting nuggets to kind of leave with them and kind of help their student get a boost from a healthy standpoint.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think, to be honest, in a pandemic that we're all living in, we're just in different environments and trying to navigate what that looks like, right? And so I think something that's important to remember is self-care, right? What does that look like? Self-compassion, taking care of yourself, giving yourself grace. And so as a parent or guardian or anything, and checking in with your student, I just encourage you to ask them, how are they taking care of themselves, right? Because I think there's a piece of disconnect and a piece of guilt that students feel on taking time for themselves. And so in trying to navigate a pandemic and not knowing the end date and having a lot of restrictions and having a lot of things of what you can't do, what you can do is take care of yourself. And that looks differently for everyone. But I do encourage you to promote that they take care of themselves, that they incorporate it into their lifestyle, and that they don't feel guilty, and that they understand that they only have one body and how they take care of it is their responsibility. So that has to do with what their food, what they choose to eat, if they choose to work out, if they choose to take care of their emotional state. So we have to be gentle and kind and know that all of these components of health work together to either help us or hurt us. And so hopefully they will be doing everything possible to take care of themselves on the inside and on the out, because if not, it will manifest in different aspects of their life. So definitely take care of themselves, practice self-care, practice compassion, and know that we'll get through this together.
Thank you so much, Joy, for sharing that. I'll now turn it over to Dr. Troutman, Hughes-Troutman, if you would like to share any lasting remarks.
Thank you so much, Tyler. On behalf of my colleagues and myself, we thank you so much for having an interest in the well-being and mental health of your students. As I hope that you can see, we've worked very hard and will continue to work hard to make sure that your students are supported, holistically, and that we can shift and pivot the things that we typically would do face-to-face in this virtual format. We realize that due to COVID-19, and as Joy mentioned, a lot of restrictions and kind of the different way we're operating is the new normal. It has been challenging for all of us, but certainly your students. But we are student-centered. We'll continue to be focused on trying our best to make sure that your students are connected with us and with their peers, that they're not lonely, that they're not isolated, and that we can push out as many things as possible. As a quick example, Joy and her team worked on an article coming out Friday on what students can do over the Labor Day holiday while remaining safe but still connected. We're in touch with all of that. So thank you so much for your attention, your interest, and your great questions. We hope that you have a fantastic year at Georgia Tech as a parent and family, and that your students thrive and are well.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And Carolyn, lastly, I'll just switch it over to you if you would just want to have any lasting remarks to the parents as well.
Yeah, Tiffany said it best. We are student-centered and student-focused, and we want your child to feel plugged in and engaged. We want the best for them, and so we will do all that we can in our power to offer programs both in person and virtually to help them plug in and find their place here, because they are here at Tech for a reason. So thank you for trusting your students to our care, and we hope that we can take care of them while they're here, either virtually or in person. So we'd love to see them here at the CRC. Make sure they've got their masks handy, and we've got the sanitizer that will continue to squirt all over them. And we hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you so much. And just thank you to all of our presenters today. You did such a great job. And thank you to the parents and family members attending the webinar today. Please feel free to join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. We will be joined by Marjorie Savage, who is a special guest from the University of Minnesota, who serves as an educational specialist. And she is actually a renowned author in the academy, and just talking about higher education. And her book and her presentation will be talking about parents being on their own and mentoring your student as a parent and what that looks like through their college years. So tomorrow, join us for a very, very interesting conversation at 3 p.m. Eastern. Please find the attendee link on our website, parents.gatech.edu. Go under the Stay Connected tab under virtual recordings, and you'll be able to access the link for tomorrow. But if you miss anything today during the presentation, don't worry, there will be a virtual recording on YouTube within the next 24 hours. And so just be on the lookout for that. And thank you so much and have a great day.